Welcome to episode 3, Trust Fund Baddies Podcast. I'm here with the lovely and beautiful Tamara. She is one of my favorite neighbors, and she is a divorce lawyer. So I thought that she'd be an amazing voice to come and just share a bit of her background, also her thoughts on love, modern love especially, and just what she's seen within her professional careers, and what she also thinks is probably important for younger generations before they get married and settle down. What are just key things to look out for in your relationship. So, Tamara, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. I would love just to give a little bit of background about, where you're from and just kind of like, how did you find yourself here in Santa Monica?
Well, originally from Modesto, California, and then I came down to Orange County when I was young, and I ended up in law school. It wasn't really purposeful, but I just, it's a very long story that I won't go into. Ended up in law school, graduated, but I was married and I had a baby, so I didn't really practice I practiced a little bit, but then I really got going about, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And the way I ended up in Santa Monica, because I was in Orange County, is my oldest daughter moved here, and she had a baby. So here I am.
Congrats on the baby.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic.
Her whole family, honestly, is beautiful. I mean, I see where the genes come from for your daughters, of course. And then I saw your mom, so then I saw where your genes come from.
Yeah, my mom.
The whole lineage, man. Smoke show, the whole lineage.
81-year-old smoke show. No doubt. Always been like that.
Oh, yeah.
Since I was a kid. Even when I was little, I'd walk into school and people would go, "Is that your mom?" It's like walking in with Liz Taylor. And I kid you not. I mean, she was that pretty.
I mean, she's honestly a very striking woman even to this day.
She is.
And it's funny because I remember when I was initially telling you to come and do the podcast, I was like,
Trust Bring your mom.
Yeah, seriously, bring your mom.
Bring your mom.
Might have to have her for episode 4. Like, bring mama. That's the original Trust Fund Baddie. Yeah. So, speaking of your mom, we would love to kind of hear about, what was your childhood like growing up? Can you describe that for us?
Okay, so, my childhood, believe it or not, my mom was pregnant at 15.
What?
Right? You wouldn't know that, right? Meeting her, you would like,
yeah,
right? Okay.
Wow.
15, falls in love with my dad, elopes from a very, very fundamental religious family, and ended up having my sister, and then 2 years later having me, right? Then they got a divorce. My dad was just, and he would admit this, my dad was just crazy. And so there was no way that was going to work out. And then my mom moved in with my grandparents. I lived with my grandparents for about 4 years. And then my mom married my stepdad. So then, he raised us, and he's a good man. He was a good man. My father wasn't around too much at all. He was kind of a wild person, and he would come and go. So it was kind of traumatic, actually. But he's great now.
Yeah.
He's great. He's 82, and he's fantastic. If you ever want to see, people think people don't change. But if you want to see a true story of transformation, it would be my father.
Wow.
Yeah, he went from being an alcoholic and taking a lot of drugs and doing some things to he's a very good man. Completely different than when he was younger.
Yeah. And that's, sorry to hear about that as well. I can definitely one thing when I think about just childhood upbringing, I think that also affects everyone's relationships in terms of their love life.
Totally.
And so for you, how do you think with that trauma you faced with your dad, how did that affect you in your stages of love and marriage?
It affected me drastically. I would lie if I said it didn't. Because when I was little, it was very painful, right? And so you know how you make contracts with yourself, right? And you don't even But it's been so long ago that I don't really even talk about these things anymore because I'm 62 now or 63. And
I thought you was 32. Come on
and
now.
I worked through so much stuff, a lot of therapy, just a lot of things, okay, a lot of things. So, but when I was younger, I can remember I made I can remember when I did. I made a promise to myself that I would never need a man, never. Because broken promises, I'm sure you know what it just hurts, right? You're just living with this pain of rejection. And so I know that in my first marriage, it really came up, right? Because there's a saying that we heal in relationships, right? So for me, I was a total avoidant. So I would have a lot of maybe people in my life, but very surfacey. Even if I had like really strong feelings, it would still be very surfacey relationship. And then when I married, all that stuff that I hadn't dealt with, because it was my first real, my marriage was probably my first real adult relationship. All that stuff starts coming out. And I still remember when I was going through, because I got divorced, of course, when I was going through that counseling with my first husband, God, I'll never forget, he looks at the therapist and he said, I just feel like she's always mad at me for a lot of things I never did. And it got me, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's right. But it took me a lot of years, even after that marriage, to realize that I was angry at so many things that had nothing to do with the person in front of me. And I had to eventually get through that.
What do you feel as if, I guess you still feel like you're working through that, or what helped you achieve that state of peace and overcoming that trauma?
I think, a lot of people say, you don't change until there's a lot of pain. And I did have a lot of pain, but I don't think that's what changed me. I think I started to really change when I could actually feel like someone loved me. Because I think for so long, I just couldn't feel it. And I couldn't really, I don't think I could really feel love for somebody that was right in front of me either. And when I started to be able to feel that, I think that's what really started to change me, So, and therapy helped a lot, therapy. But I don't think therapy without some kind of emotional something somewhere along the line is just going to do it. I mean, you just can't sit in therapy and talk about your problems. And at a certain point, you just get so tired of it.
Yeah.
I have friends that are just rebound on therapy. It's 40 years later, and they're still talking about their problems.
Work in progress.
I'm still a work in progress. Yeah. It's not that, but I don't have those issues anymore. Yeah. I don't feel a lot of those. I don't get that. I mean, it's a sad state to be in as any human being. I'm watching this thing right now. Have you watched Belgravia?
No.
So I'm huge on period pieces, period series, and I'm watching Belgravia, and the main character in it, he is a guy who didn't feel loved as a child, and now he's trying to manage a relationship, and he's having all kinds of problems. And I'm watching, I'm like, oh geez, it's like
familiar. It's like me. Yeah, you got PTSD.
PTSD.
You're having hot flashbacks.
Yeah, but who I really feel sorry for is my first husband, because he wasn't perfect, but I wasn't perfect either. But I was very unforgiving. There was no room for forgiveness. You wouldn't want to make a mistake with me in my younger years.
Wow.
Yeah. So totally different now.
Yeah. So I guess now in terms of what you've dealt with the clients that you work with, and what has been for you the number one? Well, I know we typically hear is finances or infidelity, or the two reasons for divorces, but what have been the main reasons for divorce that you've seen in your career?
Just what you just said. Fidelity and finances.
Okay.
Fidelity and finances. But you have to say, okay, yeah, fidelity and finance. Like a lot of people will come to me and they're like, she's cheating on me. And then you start to get into the root of the problem, and you want to, and I'm not a therapist, right? I'm not a therapist, but I'm very knowledgeable, like because of my childhood, because of all these things. Like I'm very good at what I do as far as divorce, and I'm very good at identifying issues. And so like some people come to me, I can't believe she cheated on me. I can't believe she did this. I can't believe she did that. And I'm talking to them like, no wonder she cheated on you. Like no wonder she cheated on you.
So give us some examples. Like what are some scenarios you've seen where you're just like, I mean, this guy just had it coming.
Okay, and I don't think anybody ever has it coming. Of course,
and I have it coming, but
I don't think anybody ever has it coming. I
Absolutely
don't think
not.
it's that. Yeah. But okay, if you're married and you are not affectionate with your wife, do you really think that there's not someone else out there that's going to be? And vice versa. Yeah. And vice versa, women will come to me and their husband's been cheating, but they haven't slept with their husband for months. And you're like, do you really think? How long can nobody gets married to be celibate.
Yeah.
Like, that's not why you get married.
Yeah.
So I think it's not that anybody has it coming to it, and that usually is stemming from what? Like lack of communication. But why don't women want to have sex with men a lot of times? Because they're critical, they're demeaning, they're not spending enough time. You know what I mean? You got to get down to like what caused it.
Yeah.
You can't just look at.
Now, in terms of finances, how do you normally see his dynamic? Is it because?
Oh man.
I mean, it's interesting. So, are you normally seeing it from? So, what is it? Is it
both sides?
Both sides.
Both sides.
Okay, so please explain it to us.
This is not a gender thing.
Please explain it to us.
This is not like all women spend too much or all men spend too much. I mean, I have had cases where, oh my gosh, my biggest ones was, oh my gosh, this client of mine, she was so darling, and she comes to me. Had married, and she would be happy, if I told the story. She came to me, and she had married her husband, USC. I think they met at USC. They just had this beautiful people, and got into addiction, and then he got into gambling, and then he started stealing money from her. Like it was just, that was the worst one. That was the worst one I'd ever seen, because he was going to destroy her life, and he wasn't even meaning to. Like, was not like, oh, I'm going to destroy you. He was just caught up in addiction. Yeah. So that other things, sometimes people just lose their jobs, right? Yeah. The other person can't handle it. Like, that's a big one. And then they start borrowing, and before you know it, there's debt, and then that debt puts all that pressure on the couple, and you kind of need two people who are going to be able to weather that storm, right? That's a hard storm. If you marry and there's no financial problems, and then, like one of my therapists said to me once, nothing kills passion like financial problems. Nothing, right? Because then you start blaming each other. Yeah. Somebody's blaming somebody, and somebody's spending too much, and somebody's trying to control you on the finances. And that is the worst. Okay, I see a lot of that. That, I'm going to say, is gender specific, and that is what I've seen in my practice is men trying to control women and their spending. It does not go over well with women. Is this normally the men that are telling their wives, like, stop working, or is it like the wife is working and he's still trying to control what she's doing? Because I know usually that's like one tactic that men try to do. No, I'd say it's usually when they don't work. Okay, it's usually when they don't work. Yeah. Right, and then they don't want them to work, but they don't want to give them any money. How are you supposed to navigate that? Yeah. Right? So, like, we're American women. Yeah. Most of us are educated. We can work. We can make our own money. And then somebody will ask you, well, I don't want you to work. I want you to stay home. And then they don't even want to give you enough money to live your life, or they're checking every purchase you make. So that's a tough one. Yeah. So I raised two girls, and I'm very specific in what they should look for. And like, if you're not going to work, then you need to make sure you marry somebody that has the same values as you, right? like my mom and my aunt, okay, let's say my aunt, okay, she didn't work, but my uncle wasn't checking everything she made. He made a good life for her so she could enjoy her life and not work.
And now these women that are using in these positions, are they also women that come from families that have money? Or
it's all kinds of people. And it kind of, okay, with finances, it can border on abuse. Like,
absolutely.
Financial control.
Financial abuse it's major,
and
yes.
It is true that, I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it. And some of it's just like kind of rising to that level of abuse. And you think, why does somebody want to control you like that? Like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money, that's a whole different story. Like a whole different story. But if you have it and then you want to, I see them using it to just demean their wives. And I just don't see a lot in the reverse, because most of the women I have or in that position aren't working and the men are working. I'm sure it's vice versa. I just haven't seen those clients.
So you haven't had any divorce clients where it's like a male hypergamy complex within the relationship dynamic?
The hypergamy where you want to marry up?
It's like, well, the guy, like, he married up, basically.
So where he married up?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've seen it, but I haven't seen anybody being chintzy with their dough,
Okay.
I think they do that, and then they're treated quite generously, the ones that I have.
So you're saying it's a soft life for the men? You hear that, men? Go get you a rich one. You're going to live good. You're going to live good.
That's what you're asking me, right? If I look back, I can't think of, and now tonight I'll be in bed going, oh, wait, there was that one, but no, I haven't. Even with my girlfriends or whatever, I see, no, generally, I haven't seen a lot of that chintziness going the other way.
Gentlemen, marry up.
Isn't that interesting?
It's interesting too, because
but there's going to be another price to pay.
Okay, what's the price?
What's
the price?
Okay.
The price, talk about it.
Okay. You might, what I've seen, I think you're going to have a very controlling, maybe not with the finances, but your time, your, I don't know that that's such a great.
Well, my question is, like, if the man himself is he could be an successful adventure too, right? Because you just got like some women who just come from a different type of money.
That works.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he could be. You could literally have a guy who's top corporate exec. With the wife is just from like.
Oh yeah, no. I think but then
there's like some
successful.
There's like some women who just like their like monthly inheritance is just more than what a guy is bringing in.
Both really successful people
who
walk out the door at any minute.
Exactly.
Usually where the problem comes in is where it's so different that you can't walk out the door.
Correct.
Okay, and everybody knows it.
Correct.
That's where the problems come. Not when if you can walk out the door, then somebody with an abusive tendency is going to be more on notice that they can't do it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, okay.
Yeah.
But
you made a lot of men happy today. They've been waiting to hear the feedback of, because I think it's interesting because, right, in like modern traditional times, it's always encouraged for like women to date up and to marry up, but you don't really see it as much for men, especially for not, of course, like, specifically like high value men, not just guys that are just like looking for a free ride or free ticket, but even kind of from hearing your feedback, I just think there's a lot of value add for men to just like look for partners, to your point, where if you're ever in a financial bind, things get sticky, you have someone that can help support you in some kind of way, whether it's from the money she's obtained or the money that she's connected with her family. But I just think it does make a big difference.
I think it's nice that two people have the ability to go out and earn.
Absolutely.
So if there's a proverb that says two under a blanket is like warmer than one, right? That proverb. So, I think everybody should have something to bring to the table.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and most people do these days, right? I would think.
It's interesting. Most people have the value add, but they don't want to bring it. I think now, that's like the frustration with like modern dating, especially. That's where like part of like my channel is growing, because there's just so many like high value guys who feel as if, they're out here, they're handling their own, they're taking care of things, they're courting women, they're being polite, they're being generous, but just women aren't really feeding that back, right? And I think that's where there's a lot of frustration for men. We're in an age now too, where, to your point, there's just more economic resources. Women have just like so much freedom and like the ability to do so much. Not all. There's like, of course, some very, high quality women out there, but it's they just aren't at the forefront of like modern dating. A lot of guys now feel as if men are just getting like the short end of dating, where it's like you spend all this time dealing with women. And so part of the fascination, or part of the community I've built has been this idea of dating women that are high value, so that when a relationship is over, you don't feel empty. You don't feel as if you have nothing to show for it. Whereas you date someone, to your point, they're bringing something to the table. You guys are both like financially stable. You can enjoy so many things, and you don't feel as if you had a partner where you provided all these things for her, and all you have now is a broken heart walking away from it.
That'd be awful. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's awful. So I don't know. I don't know about modern, like the young people, modern dating. I have very strict rules on dating for people and for my kids. Like, do my kids listen to me? Probably not. But I think I don't understand a lot of the way people date these days. I don't understand the whole hookup culture. I don't understand, like, dating is sleeping with people. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. And then you expect to get high value. I don't know. I don't know how those things go together, right? So I'm a big friends first, find out who you are, what your values are, what you want in life. And I just see a waste of time. Like, people just wasting their time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because for me, like, I'm not married, but I've been married twice, and I have my kids, and I have my grandkids, and I have great friends, and I just think that I see these young people, and I see them start hitting their mid-30s, their 40s, and they're still not married, and they still don't have a family, and I think, what's that look like at my age? And it goes fast, right? And they're just out dating around on these apps. It just seems so unbelievably unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Like I would think that would leave me suicidal if I was young. I mean, it sounds awful to me.
I think what it's done is we've almost like dehumanized the dating process.
Dehumanized it. Well, don't even get me started, because like, I do a lot of volunteering stuff with all the whole sex trafficking thing and all that stuff. Okay, what's up with all this online stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to find any value? Where are those girls going to find value?
OnlyFans girls, that's a whole nother.
And if I'm dating a guy and he's doing the OnlyFans stuff, I'm dating him, and then he's doing the online stuff, well, I'm dumping him, like, as soon as you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, here's what I think. I think there's a lot of men, they want a high-value girl, but then in their private life, they're doing all this porn and the online stuff, and they're not going to get a high-value girl. They're never going to get one, because a high-value girl is not going to stand for that.
Absolutely.
She's not going to respect a guy who does that.
Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, that is what I know about the younger culture. It is a huge, I have seen it in my practice. I had a client, one of the most beautiful girls you would ever see. Like, I love this girl, one of my favorite clients. And she was married to this really cute guy, like just a darling guy. He's dead now. He's dead, probably from his reckless life. And they had a kid together, one or two kids together. And I mean, she's gorgeous. They were in their 20s. And he was so into porn that he couldn't even get an erection with her. Okay? And she'd be in bed, this gorgeous young girl, she'd be in bed, and he'd be in the bathroom on porn. And that's not the only story I have. I mean, it is horrible. It's a horrible problem. And these young kids, these young boys, are getting hooked on it, and it's going to ruin their lives.
Absolutely. I mean, I think even, one, I know that, like, OnlyFans, the subscribers, a large portion are, like, married men. Of, like, OnlyFans subscribers. Like, when there's like some metrics where it's like 40% or some like high number like that is like the amount of married men or the consumers. But also too, I think even that's something I talk about a lot with social media. I just think it's so overly sexualized that even like outside of just like, even if you weren't looking for pornography or explicit images, you go on Instagram,
It finds you.
It's
oh no, I have a
it's
friend.
insane.
I was dating. Actually, it was one of my best friends, and we were dating for quite a while. And we were out one day. We were just sitting somewhere, and he hands me his phone, and he's like, "Will you get this stuff off my phone? Because we're both not that techie." And this was a few years ago. He goes, "Look at this. This just keeps showing up on my phone," and it was on his WhatsApp. And it's just like they're stalking him.
I think it's honestly. So here's my theory, and like in terms of how this is all connected. So consumerism is driven by the need to feel loved, and men will go through any extent for a woman to love them or to feel that love of a woman. So if you have a society where the minds of men are so weak and they're so lustful, they'll do anything to feel that lust. I mean, it's just like that's how you control the world, and that's what I really think is like going on, like globally. Like men worldwide, our minds they're attempting to weaken our minds. Or social media, they're trying to over sexualize women, and then that way they control our economic resource. Because now, if you're just so brain dead from all the brain rot you consume with these like sexualized images and content, what do you want to do? All you want to do now is go and appease a woman. You want to do now is make a woman happy, so you can now fulfill you, help you get your rocks off. And so I don't even believe, I know for sure that this is like, it's a universal attempt to control men and to weaken the minds of men by feeding all of these things through us. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm really like, if I could ever have a conversation with Mark Zuckerberg, I would, or even Elon Musk too, because Twitter is even worse. X. I mean, Twitter is like a full-blown porn site.
Oh, is it?
Oh, what? I mean, you can like literally see like full-blown sex on Twitter.
See, people think I'm probably too conservative. I ban porn.
No, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, it's just, I think it's...
I don't want my daughters dating men who do porn. I got two beautiful daughters. I love my son-in-law. I don't think he's doing any porn. I would be shocked. He's such a good guy. But I do not think men who do porn are good men. Period. I don't care how good you think you are, because you're participating in an industry that is so abusive to women. Like, you don't even know how old that girl is on your online site. She's most likely underage. Very good chance, okay? You don't know how she got there, but I can almost guarantee you her background isn't too good. Like, she didn't wake up when she was 8 and go, when I grow up, I want to be, a porn star. So in my opinion, it's using women, right? It shows a complete lack of empathy and compassion for women. And I know, I see on YouTube, I saw the other day, there was this escort, her YouTube channel or whatever, and she seems very happy with what she does. Okay, I think there's exceptions probably. I don't know what that looks like in 20 years for her. Like, I think it's destroying her soul.
For sure.
But of course, everybody thinks I'm a prude for thinking that,
Why is that? Aren't you frustrated with that about society, where it's like we can't call out what's right and what's wrong anymore?
No, but you just got to do it. Right? Because it is.
But even think about that now. It's like in this day and age where regardless if you're a man or a woman, anyone that speaks against like sex work, all of a sudden now it's like, oh, you're like hurting the sex work economy.
What's wrong with you? Yeah.
I think that's also where it's like, as society, we're going backwards, man. I mean, it's like we're becoming more explicit. And at the same time, we're becoming like just less abrasive to it, though. It's like we're normalizing the most vulgar things, and we're literally condemning people that bring light and attention to just things that are outlandish.
Right, but I see it different. I see when I was young, there were more people making excuses for it, okay? With the whole Hugh Hefner and all that stuff, like, you were really a prude if you weren't for that. Like, oh, you think there's something wrong with Playboy or whatever, and I do, okay? I do. But now there's a lot more men who have been in it, who have been ruined by it, and who have changed and are coming out against it. But at the same time, it's like this tsunami around the world, because if you're poor now, you can go into the industry and make a lot of money, or some money, at least some money. I literally saw a lady the day being interviewed. She was in her 70s probably, or 80. and she was she had just become a sex worker, and I kid you not, it was on an English interview channel, and she was able to make, she said, and now she can make $3,000, that's all she needed was $3,000 a month, and it was young boys sleeping with her.
Start the rapture. Start the rapture.
I know, it's like,
it's time to go. It's time to go. Like, it's time to go. We've been here too long. We've been here too long.
I know. I've seen it all now.
And it's like,
she was a granny. She was like, that was how she sold herself, as a granny. Kid you not. Okay. How low you gotta go, man, if you're a 30-year-old or you're a 25-year-old and you're so desperate that you're gonna go pay to sleep with granny. I'm sorry. Like, no. Right?
Yeah,
No, I do think it's horrible for the culture. I think if men want to find high value women, they got to put all that stuff behind them, and they got to be men of character. And I just don't think men of character do porn. I know people. I can just say, oh, I'm just horrible for saying that.
Okay. Now, speaking on that topic, I would love for you to address, as a high value woman yourself, what do you feel that men should have for that, so that they can attract a high value woman?
Okay, I think one of the most attractive things in a man, and I'm 63 and I think of my daughters, there is nothing like a hardworking man. It really doesn't matter what you do, as long as they love what they do, like they're positive about what they do, and they're hardworking. And I do think men need to be providers, straight up. Because, in general, women are going to have the children. I think there's dynamics where that's different. Like, there are some women who want to go out there and work, and you can still be a high-value man, and I think want to be a partner for that. Like, there are some women who are just they're such go-getters, and exactly what they need is just that man who's going to be there for them and doing whatever. Like, I have one friend, she does all the work and he manages finances. I mean, that works, but there's nothing lazy about him. He's just not out there working, but he's doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes. So I think for my girls, I want somebody with character, strong character, hardworking, fun. You got to be smart, you got to have some education. It doesn't mean you have to go to college. And you got to take care of yourself. I mean, it's not a lot. It's kind of normal. It's kind of normal stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to be rich. Like, in fact, I don't even think it's good for, like, if, say you're young, mm-hmm. and, and you marry someone and they've just got all this money and they haven't had to work for it. I don't advise it. Like, I think part of the journey is you work together, and it's great. That's what my grandparents did, and they had very good marriages.
You have not met the modern woman.
I've heard.
They want the first half. You mentioned the man's providing, but they don't want to work with him to get him to that point. Of like,
are there really that many women out there that just don't want to?
It's like they just want to meet the man at the finish line, So it's kind of like, it's like they want a guy in his 30s to do what a man in his 60s is doing.
Oh, well, that's all this stuff, all this OnlyFans, stuff, and then it's all the commercials that are just throwing. That's sad.
Then you're seeing
that's really sad. I'm telling you, everybody's missing out on a whole bunch of stuff.
Everyone's missing out, man. Everyone's missing out.
Like, I was young, mm-hmm. and I met a lot of very, very wealthy men. I mean, did I want to marry any of them? I mean, no. I mean, some of them, because I actually like them, but I mean, for that to be like, and I got to be honest, I do know people who would just marry for money. I do. But the ones I know have been miserable.
Which is the price that most people are willing to pay these days.
Who wants to pay that price? I cannot imagine wanting to pay that price.
It's called selling your soul, right?
How hard is it just to work and enjoy your life?
Yeah.
No, I do. I remember one friend. Oh my God. I remember one friend. She would just be with one guy after another, so wealthy, and you just be like, if I was with him, I would shoot myself. Like, I would not. I don't.
Yeah.
It's just not the first thing. But maybe that's like an evolutionary thing. Like maybe in some women it's just a survival.
I think, that's a good point. That is a good point.
Right, because in the old days you couldn't work.
Yeah, but I think
you almost had to marry somebody.
I think that's why it's probably even more frustrating for men. It's just like women, they have access to so much resources, and to your point, you could be building together. Like I love the story of like Ralph Lauren and his wife.
I don't know it.
So basically, like when he was kind of coming up, like they were living in like this, like really crappy New York apartment. But it's just like no girl is trying to live in a crappy apartment with you while you're trying to start your business these days. You know,
Are you serious?
Oh,
I do not believe that.
Come on.
I do not believe that. Really? Okay, I'm gonna challenge your story.
Girl, go ask your daughters. Like, I'm like, literally, like, come on. No, with all due respect, your daughter met EJ at the finish line.
But they're young.
She met him.
No.
At the finish line. He arrived.
No, he's one of the hardest working.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not. But if he wasn't already around, I don't think he'll be where he is right now. He might be still looking for a girl.
I don't know that that's true.
I'm telling you, it's ruthless. I mean,
he does really well, but he's going to do a lot weller if there's
sure.
a word for it.
Absolutely.
So they did meet while he was still at the beginning of his career.
Still had a very solid career.
He has a really good career.
Exactly.
He has a really good career. And one of the most attractive things about my son-in-law is he is adorable, but he is the hardest working kid. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, I have never seen a hard-working kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's attractive. And that kind of goes through his whole personality too. You know, he's just a go get it done kind of person. Now with Bella, we'll see. I think she would. I have to talk to her.
I'm telling you,
I'm going to ask her.
I'm telling you.
She's 23.
So when she met him, she's 23?
Bella's 23.
Oh, yeah.
She's 23, so I'll ask her what she's looking for.
Yeah.
You should interview her.
We could bring her to the podcast. Next time she's here.
She's 23. She's out there. She's graduated.
Next time she's here, we'll bring her.
She's on the cutting edge of things.
We'll bring her to the Trust Fund Baddies Podcast.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
See what she says.
Yeah.
See what she says. But I would hope that her dad's a hardworking guy. I would think that she would be totally open to working together to build a life with someone.
Nobody's trying to do that. Even I think about that for myself. Like, okay, even I think about my position, like a girl building up from the ground up. This the ground up?
Like, it's not the ground up.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in the sense of like, I've already arrived. Like, I know for sure, even like back, like, this is another funny connection. So she has my old apartment. so
funny.
So when I had that old apartment, that was like, that was my struggle years. And I'm just like, but even then though, it's like, I'm struggling oceanfront. Like,
yeah, you're struggling in a really nice place.
That's what I'm saying though. So it's like, that's what I'm trying to say. But like, even then, like, no girl is, if I was in Inglewood doing it, it wouldn't be attractive. But like me doing it here, it's like,
think so?
There's an appeal to it because I'm even doing it here. But like I'm telling you, like no one wants the ugly grind. They want to see you already there. Part of what even I think makes my journey at least like.
Well, it depends on your age, but you're still young, so I wouldn't.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to.
40 and you're still
nah, of course you're supposed to have like kids and like a house by then, you know. But I'm telling you, at a young age, no one wants you like. In the process, they want you already arrived.
That's too bad. I don't get that.
I mean, it's like a double-edged sword. Even like for myself, like I had to realize that, like, I mean, of course, right? It's what makes me a high-value man. But part of like it's like the curse of dating. I know that like it's very difficult to find a girl that was to be dating me just feels like, oh, like I'm just really intrigued with who you are as a person and your mind, as opposed to like I just see the trajectory you're currently on.
Well, okay. That's like, I remember just thinking of a therapist of mine, because when I was younger, I think I felt too, like after my first marriage, that I just wanted somebody to take care of me, but I didn't think in terms of, oh, I've got to go out and marry somebody, it was worth $100 million, but I did have a kind of mindset, because I had a child, and she's like, what are you even talking about? She goes, it sounds like you're looking for a grandfather.
Basically, that's what they're looking for these days.
She's like, it doesn't work that that way, Tamara. She's like, unconditional love, right? Unconditional love is for puppies and babies. Like you have to bring, everybody has to bring something to the table.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's just true. It's just, that's so funny. Oh my God. I think there are girls.
Whatever mindset you had after that first divorce, that's how all women think right now. Because you went through that phase too.
I guess I
you
did.
You just acknowledged you went through that phase too.
I guess I did, but I didn't think of it that way, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. And then I got married a second time. And, you know, he was really hardworking, and I loved it. I loved that we were both working together. I don't think he loved it so much. But I did. I liked that part of it. I think you're wrong, and I think there are girls out there.
I ain't saying they don't exist. It's rare, is all I'm saying. Like they're like a needle in a haystack.
But you're rare.
Absolutely. So are you.
Yeah. So it's there.
You know?
It's there. I don't know about your audience, but I think you. What do they say? You have to become kind of what you want to attract, right?
Absolutely.
So if somebody wants a high-value girl, they better really be a high-value guy, and like really be, and not have all these dark secrets that aren't high-value, right?
Couldn't have said any better myself.
That shadow life will repel a high-value girl, or she finds out 2 years into the marriage, and then she leaves.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. But it's so common. That's the one thing I do see about the younger culture. And because I see it in my practice. I talk to people with their kids. I had somebody who's like a 10-year-old kid addicted to porn.
10 years old. Wow.
Can you imagine? What's his first time? Like, would I want my daughter meeting that kid?
No.
Would I?
No. Lock him up.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that 10-year-old in jail. Lock him up. Throw away the key.
Okay, get this one. When Bella was younger, there was an incident in a certain gated community where we were, where these boys had taken this new girl to school, and they did something, and they'd filmed it. Do I want my daughter around those boys? No. Right?
All right.
No.
All right, so any final thoughts or advice you want to give to the people about love or marriage?
Okay, well, I would say this. I don't think there's anything more important than your family and building a family. And I think if you, unless you're just one of those people, like there are nuns, there are monks, there are these people, they want to be celibate and they want to be single. But if you're not that person and you're young, I think that it behooves you to do what it takes to become, like you say, a high-value man or a high-value woman, to attract the best person you can and make the best choice you can so that you can build a life with somebody. Because I don't think I'm so grateful. Okay, 63, I'm 63, and I've been through 2 divorces. I have not done anything perfectly, right? But somehow I managed to have these 2 amazing daughters, and now I have 2 amazing grandchildren. I have an amazing son-in-law. I have a great family. And I think, where would I be if I didn't have that? I think it'd be kind of lonely, you know? So that's why I say I just don't think there's anything. And people go, "Oh, you do divorce law? Ooh, that's so." Like, how do you do that? Because I do divorce and domestic violence, right? And for me, it's like, because there's nothing more important than the family. Like, I don't think there's anything more important in this life than your family.
Yeah, I heard it here, y'all. Go start a family. Thanks so much for your time, Tamara. You're amazing.
Thank you.
And hope you all have a great day.